Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say hello and welcome to a fresh, brand new edition of the program ASHFORD GARLEY Live on Bridge Radio Africa. Today is Friday, April the 21st, 2023. And as always, Father God, we want to give you praise. We want to magnify your name. Blessed be your holy name forever. Father, we are grateful to you. We want to thank you for what you've done and continue to do for all of us. In the name of Jesus, we've given thanks. I know some heard the name, some heard people talk about them. You've gotten the opportunity tonight to match the face to the voice. Some call him the mastermind, the doctor of love, the medicine of the microphone, the golden voice of Liberia, Africa's media doobie-doo extraordinaire. Grazie tu pa yege zebon bloda anja ko me ochreji. But yaku e gwe play. Se ko we e pele ya. Kuro ba pe konyo si kro. Oh man, he doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than the lion. As for the giant, and now you know me, Garley. Welcome to the show. And it's time to say hi to Mr. Sam Dopo, Batu Jero, Wadi Constance. Share the video, invite a few friends so that we can together have a great time tonight. Our main show starts at 8 p.m., but tonight we have a very special edition of the program where we have the women wing of CDC in the building tonight, and the organization is the Revolutionary National Women's League of CDC USA, and we have the officials in the building. I will start with Mrs. Howard. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the organization, and work our way around the road. Mrs. Howard.
Hello, ASHFORD. Thank you for inviting us. My name is Bola. As you can see on the screen, Aisha Cole Howard. I'm the chair lady for the National Women League, CDC USA National Women League in America. And I bring you greetings from my chair lady, Madam Constance Wentopo, and our global chairman, Mova K. Molu. And we are happy to be here tonight.
All right, we'll also have Miss Erica Culture Davis. Tell us a little bit about yourself and welcome to the show. Please mute your microphone.
Yes, thank you so much for having us. Thank you. I'm the chapter chair lady for New York.
Okay. Then we have Mrs. Mary Scott Wilson. Mrs. Wilson, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. It's awesome being here. Thanks for the invite. We appreciate it. I'm Marie Scott Wilson, the CDC USA National Women League senior advisor, and I'm also the program chair for this upcoming event on May 27th. I'm awesome and happy, excited to be here to share some ideas. Thanks.
Okay, and again, I'm glad that you folks have taken up the time to select or choose our platform. This platform does not belong to any particular political party. It is for Liberia. Whether you are with the CDC or other political institutions, you're welcome to this platform. And of course, this is our platform. It belongs to Liberia and it belongs to the Liberian people as well. Now, you are talking about the Women's League of the CDC USA, the Revolutionary National Convention or ball, which will be held sometime next month, I believe. And you have the global chairman, the Honorable Molba Molu, will be there. We also see a lot of dignitaries on the list. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about this event?
All right, we'll let Marie, because Marie is our program chair for this event. So I will give her that opportunity to go ahead and tell you about the event and we'll elaborate.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for giving me the floor 1st. Anyway, so our program is tailoring to our launching, our first launching for the CDC USA National Women's League is scheduled for May 27th in Pennsylvania. It's also going to be, we're going to have some workshops during the morning hours, and at the night is when we're going to have the board and everything and things like that. But this program is actually for networking with other women coming together, even though it's a CDC women event, but it's also about Liberian as a whole and women getting together in the network and get to meet other, individuals where we can share idea, because it's all about the betterment of our country, how to come together in one accord to uplift our country. So we want to launch our program in reference to giving the proceeds and all that stuff back to project in Liberia that will help with the betterment of our country. That's about it for
Okay,
now.
Mrs. Davis.
Yes, thank you so much for having us on this program. The National Women's League. And thank you, Marie. I love that. um,
You're welcome.
Yes, the Women's League National New York, we do a lot of different programs. We're going to highlight some of the programs that we do. We do a response of COVID. We jumped into the COVID when we had the COVID time, and we're going to touch on that at the program. We're going to touch on the women's health issues. We're going to touch on empowering women, like what Sis Marie was saying, and community engagement. This year is political. This year is our election year, so we're putting the word out and letting people know that they should go out there and they should vote, and that's part of the program as well, just to let people know that we're here, we care about the community, and we're always dealing with the community and people, and we're open to other people to join us.
Well, Mrs. Howard, tell us about some of the highlights that we anticipate to see at this program. Who are some of the dignitaries that are going to be at this program? Who is your keynote speaker, and what will your message be going towards, Mrs. Howard?
All right. The National Women League program will be on May 27 in Pennsylvania. We're going to have it at 51 West Oak Lane in Pennsylvania. It's a big program. We're anticipating people from all over the National Women League of CDC USA is ready. We are awakening. We are, the momentum for our leader, our president
Yes.
is ready. President George Weir. We are here to
Yes.
Yay!
yeah, so at this program, we are anticipating people from all, well, not just women, we also invited, men and just everybody from everywhere to be at this program. So at the program, we're going to be having our morning session where we will discuss different things pertaining to our party, to the CDC, USA, and also CDC like B-Rod and CDC all over. So we're anticipating people. So it's a lot of discussion going to be happening there. And we want to awakening the spirit of all seditionists in America, and not just sedition, friends of the president, President George Weah, and just everybody. So we are happy, we ready, we on fire. So the National Women League here is here to motivate all sedition and everybody around the world to be part of this program. And this program will be on May 27th. And Ashford, guess what? This is our first program for the National Women League in the USA. To tell you that CDC is ready and the women are ready. So, I mean, the program, we're going to have a lot of dignitaries that will be at this program. And I mean, it's going to be very successful. Ashford, and we're even inviting you to come to this program too, because CDC is ready. This is our home. The home of CDC is in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Minnesota, and Philadelphia is where CDC was birthed in Minnesota. And then CDC, we have the highest in Pennsylvania, the highest rate of sedition in Pennsylvania. So we are gearing up and ready for this program. And you know, Ashford, when women put their hands into something, it's not just easy. So the women are ready. Women from the last election were 60%. They made 60% of the vote. So now we are ready to stand with our president and all our leaders in Liberia to let them know that CDC is ready, and CDC USA, the Women League are here and they are strong and they are ready.
And folks, if you just joined us, just so you know, this program has been sponsored by the CDC USA Women, and the disclaimer here is whatever has been said here tonight does not necessarily reflect Brace Radio Africa. Miss Wilson, I heard Mrs. Howardson, I am invited. Do you think I'll be protected when I come?
Oh, you will be. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna make sure you're fully protected, and one of the reasons is everything that I engage in is all about protection and safety, because we all can be civil, have fun, be civil. There's no need of any problem. So I can guarantee you will be protected, and the rest of our visitors.
Okay, Mrs. Davis, let us talk about funding. Who's funding this very elaborate occasion? I know the President hand in my law now. I know is that President we are sponsoring this?
No, it's us. It's us. We are passionate about our country, and we are putting together this program. Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, you can also be a sponsor, because we are also looking for people to sponsor this program. So just not you, but any other person out there that want to come in and sponsor, we are open. Let me tell you, we have tickets on sale. We have our VIP tickets for the board night. So if you part of the VIP, you purchase a VIP ticket for $200. You get a bottle of wine on the Women League, a bottle of wine. Your name is in our program, and then you also have a special seat in the hall. So you know, for our VIP, so our VIP tickets are $150. We have our sponsor tickets, and then we have our patrons. Our sponsor is $50, and ordinary not ordinary, but we have the patrons for $150. So we are looking for sponsors. I mean, not because we are the ruling party doesn't mean that people cannot sponsor this program. We're asking every Liberian, everybody to sponsor this unique and great program in the United States.
Now, let us talk about the keynote speaker, and let us talk about the message for the night. Who's the keynote speaker?
Sis Marie, you want to tell here? Because we're still ready to open up to tell you who our keynote speaker was. We're waiting closer to our program. Then we will tell you who our keynote speaker is. So
thank you, Aisha. Well, another thing, I'm a strategic person, so we are gonna wait. In the meantime, I'm working on sending you your official invite, your VIP ticket through your email that you send me, so you'll soon be receiving it. So like later on, we plan on hopefully that you allow us to come back, because that way we can do like a follow-up, and then we can give all the last minute information, to our viewers, if you don't mind. Yeah, so I'm putting you on the spot that we will be coming back on your show. I take by force, by the way. I say and I do it. So thank you for planning to have us back. We appreciate you that you're going to have us back again. Thanks in
And you
advance.
and you can also share the video, share the show as well to the rest
Oh,
of
I'm
your.
sharing right now. Trust
Yes,
me,
we're
I'm
gonna share.
multitasking.
We're not
I'm multitasking.
that. So tell us about. I know you talk about advocacy, Mrs. David. What are some of the projects that you people have worked on, and what are you working on now?
The party CDC USA, we're working is a program project that we have in process with our cheer lady, CDC USA cheer lady. It's a latrine project. We have a micro loan project that's coming up soon that we're working on, that's in the mix, to be able to help women, empower women, and so they could be able to start their own business in Liberia. We have other programs that they are doing. Oh my goodness, I had it right here. Company engagement, of course, and the election is coming up, so we're talking about smart voting practices and being safe and steering away from danger. Because this is election year, so we want to educate our people and let them know that we're doing the job. Tell them about all the different projects that our president is doing and all the progress that we're making within the party within this time that he stepped into office. You could just see the development in the country. So we want to let other people know in the US that we are going strong. We're going one around, and 6 + 6 = 12.
Well,
Well
Miss,
said.
Mrs. Howard, I know how you are when it comes to being so passionate about being an advocate. The fact that you have aligned yourself with the ruling establishment in Liberia. Every day when you listen to the social media or when you watch the social media, when you listen to news coming out of Liberia, our little brothers and sisters have been raped in the country. Kids little as 3 to 5 years, 7 to 8 years, they've been tampered with, and we hear these disturbing news coming out of Liberia. What is your organization doing to help create awareness and to avoid some of these mayhem that is happening in our country?
I know, Aishwa, it's sad that, Liberia, we have this thing going on, but, it's every nation, it's a professional social worker and professional psychology. These are things that nations are faced with. And it's not right. It's not good that, our young people are being raped and sexual assault and everything. But there are a lot of advocacy groups. There are a lot of awareness, through different organizations in Liberia and even through the general ministry to make people aware that the behavior of people raping young children, and it's very disgusting. No nation, but you look at this is not just our government thing. This is everybody, because this situation, like you're talking about rape, is happening in homes, it's happening in neighborhoods, and you have people keeping those information, like the child come and live with you, then somebody in the house turn around and rape that child, and they keep it as a secret. So when you're looking at rape and you're looking at sexual assault, it's not just a government thing, it's a society issue that everybody in society in Liberia, the awareness needs to come from every home, every neighborhood, every office, in the marketplace, everywhere. Because government alone cannot fight sexual assault, they cannot fight rape, because rape situation is happening in homes, it happening in neighborhood, it even happening among choir director, like the choir director raping the choir star. It's happening everywhere. So it's not an easy situation that you can just see. So, as our organization, that's one of the things as women we want to advocate for. Coming here at CDC, National Women League in the United States, we want to make awareness to people and let them know that it's not fair, it's not right that rape continues to happen in our nation. So we have to be in order to speak on these things. So tonight, as we are here, I know the video will go abroad and stuff. So we as some women, we have our children and stuff, and we will never tolerate, children being abused, young people, even women, and all of that. So we want that to stop. So me, I'm big on advocacy. So that's something our Women League has been talking about. We have been to partnering to our global chairman, to our National Women League in Liberia. These are things that they have also been advocating that need to stop.
Mrs. Davis, I know you talk about victory for CDC in the next few months. We just completed the first phase of the voter registration process. The second phase begins shortly. Folks who are citizens, folks who are members of other political parties, trooping to Liberia to get registered to vote. When was the last time any of you guys were in Liberia, and how soon are you going to go to Liberia to get registered to vote?
On mute.
Unmute your mic, please, Miss Davis.
I just came back. A couple days ago from Liberia.
Wow,
and the country is so beautiful. I just love the way that they're developing the country. It's so many developments just popping up. So
tell us about some of the development. Tell us about some of the development.
The roads, they're fixing a lot of the roads. The first lady is coming out with a boarding school for children. They have a lot of different projects that's coming up. They of course we stopped by the sports complex that they have there, something that they never had before. It's just a lot of things and I lived in Liberia for almost 10 years before I came back here. And you could see the difference between what the party is doing and what the last government was doing. You could just see the difference in the development and how the behavior and the mind. That's the most important thing as well, is the mind. The mind is changing.
So, Ms. Davis, what do you make about the criticism that this person has done nothing for the country? He's not doing anything for the people of Liberia. Why don't you think that criticism is valid?
Of course, people are going to complain because they complained about Jesus. He was changing water into wine. They was complaining about him. So why not complain about our President Weah? Well, he's already focused, so he's not paying attention to the naysayers. He's just putting up the structures. He's doing the things. He's putting the systems in place for us to have for the betterment of our country. And if you do not see what he's doing and what the party is doing and what the people, since he came into power, the mind of the people is changing, then you just don't want to see it. You're just a hater.
Okay, we'll now go to Ms. Wilson. And folks, if you're just joining us, this is British Radio Africa as a special edition here. And this program has been sponsored by the Women League of the CDC USA. They have a special program coming at the ball and a conference come May the 27th right here in Philadelphia. Ms. Wilson?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah. If you want to piggyback on what you just said about some of the
yes, thank you. I was a little bit I thought you couldn't hear me. Yeah, so our program is scheduled for May 27 in Pennsylvania, which is happen to be on a great weekend, the Labor Day weekend. Memorial Day weekend, Memorial Day weekend is a long stretch, so people will have enough time, empty time to prepare themselves, get the different things in place, come out, prepare, it's a holiday time, it's a big time, so make sure you get your proper preparation made and, ahead of time so you can come and be part of this program. And we're going to have other stuff that will be going on. We're going to have our, meet and greet. We anticipate having a meet and greet night, and which is when we plan to be on Friday. And then on Saturday is when we have the morning event. And then in the morning, Saturday, and then Sunday, we have the main event. And then on Monday is when we're going to, Sunday, we're going to have our cookout. We anticipate having a cookout. It's a long weekend. People can just come and leave. And that's another way of networking. So whatever you didn't do on Friday, you can catch up. So we climaxing it with the cookout on Sunday where people can catch up and you'll be meeting a lot of people and you can catch up. So
Well,
that's how it's
I just saw my invite, and as
oh yeah,
media
I don't joke.
as media mogul consultant, I will be there to represent my institution.
Thank you.
And,
You know, oh my God, we have
I
it.
don't joke.
Yes,
I don't joke. I
yes.
do it.
This
you said-
radio to tell us he's coming to a CDC
Thank
function.
you.
So
We
every
wanna put
other
us
radio
on.
station needs to come.
I mean, the thing is, this country belongs to all of us.
Confirmation,
Yes.
Aisha. Confirmation.
If ANC is having something and invite British Radio, will go there. If the Unity Party, the Juice Boycott is having something and invite us, you see, you are here tonight, and a couple of hours from now, we're gonna have the Gonglo campaign to have their show, and that's what this platform is unique. It belongs to Liberia. It belongs to all of us.
Yes.
Having said that, you see the Cash App on there. This platform is self on that. So whatever you can do to help promote this platform, we will. As long as you come in and being respectful and to articulate the issues and talk about your party, we have no problem with it. At the end of the day, this country belongs to all of us. The politicians are friends. Why should we be fighting among ourselves?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Mama Liberia is a small place, so we just gotta.
So we have less than 4 minutes to go. I will go around the room for closing statement. The next time you guys appear, I know it's gonna be an hour long, and according to Miss Wilson, because her pocket is that deep. I can So closing statement. Let us begin with Miss Davis.
I just want to say thank you for inviting us on this show. I want to say thank you to our global chairman, Chairman Malou. I want to say thank you to our chairman in the USA. I want to thank you to my other chair ladies and advisors. I just want to say thank you. Yes, and please come out to the party, to the events, to the functions. Come and network. We're still looking for sponsors. We please come and enjoy and see what CDC is all about. See what the women is about.
So, Ms. Davis, you just got back home from Liberia a couple of days ago.
Yes.
Tell us about some of the local slangs in Liberia, because you guys are getting us on that.
No, but the thing is, series is actually when you're in Liberia and you go to America and you're coming back and you're like I'm speaking English. I need to learn how to speak the Kolokwa. Yeah, the Kolokwa is beautiful, but when you get a certain age and you go back to Liberia, it's very hard. It's like learning French.
Okay. Miss Wilson, we got give her 30 seconds in your closing, please.
Yeah, so I would like to urge everyone to come out, be supportive of the CDC USA National Women's League launching and board. Come, let's celebrate, come, let's network. I say thanks to our global chairman, our national chair for CDC USA, Madam Dobo, and Madam Aisha Condon Howard. I'm not good at traditional name, but I tried just now. Madam Howard, I'd like to say thank you for her support, and Madam Davis, has been very inspirational with the team, being supportive of us. We've been working. I haven't been well, but I've been working behind the scenes, so I haven't been appearing live. This is, why. So this is a challenge, and I got out to do it today. So I'm grateful to everyone. Please come and be supportive of us. We need more sponsors. And thank you very much for, saying that you are going to sponsor us. We appreciate you. We are optimistic that we will be back to come and give you more details on our upcoming program. And at that time, we have more package together well. And I'm grateful to be here. Thank you to Mama Liberia. Please, everyone, come out and support. It's not only CDC Women League. It is our event, but it's for Mama Liberia. It's for Seditians. It's for Liberia. We are sharing.
Thank you, Miss Wilson. Thank you so much. Okay, Miss Howard, 30 seconds, please.
All right, Aisha, I just want to say thank you and special thank you to the Women League of, CDC USA, the National Women League. We want to say thank you. I just want to let you know that this year, this program, Aisha, is going to be one of the greatest programs. Our focus of this program is peace, stability, empowerment, and unity. And I'm encouraging everybody, to support our president, President George Weah. His second thing is sure is one round victory. I want to say thank you for inviting us tonight, and I see everybody at the ball on May 27th. Call us for tickets. When you come in, you won't be sponsored. Call us. But we say thank you very much, and we will be back. President, we are victory
Thank
2023.
you guys. Thank you. Have a great night.
Muya, 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 muya.
We are citizen Muya.
Muya, Jaja.
And just right 8 p.m. on the dot. Welcome to ASHFORD GARLEY Live on Bridge Radio Africa. You just watched a sponsor program from the Women League of the CDC. It's time for some serious political talk now. And tonight we have our co-host, Mrs. Letitia Brooks Roberts. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Garley. How are you?
Better than good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well.
Okay. Looking good as always.
I'm going back to my roots.
I like that. Are you ready for the weekend?
Of course.
Okay.
I have a very packed weekend. My church annual conference, and then of course service on Sunday, and then I'll do a little bit of community work.
Okay. Go ahead and do your thing as we wait for the others to come on.
Well, we want to welcome our viewers. I see you just had a show. I didn't know that. You didn't share. Let us know. Well, I didn't know. Maybe you did. I didn't see the advertisement, but great show. I caught the end of it. I want to say thank you to our viewers and listeners. We thank you for joining us this Friday here in the metropolitan Newark, New Jersey area. We say come and make yourselves comfortable. Join the giant, his co-host, and our panelists as we discuss pertinent issues that affect Mama Liberia.
Okay. The Reverend Pastor Idatus Adin. Hello, welcome to the show, my brother.
Greetings to all of you wonderful panelists. Greetings to my fellow Liberians. Such a joy once more to be here tonight.
Welcome.
Okay. Dr. James D. Fisk.
Thank you, Ashford. My greetings to the panelists as well. My greetings to the viewers out there. Thank you for taking the time out to watch yet another interesting and informative program with ASHFORD GARLEY live on Breach Radio. Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll take a word from our sponsor and be right back.
G-Grace. ASHFORD GARLEY, number one vocal, number one, right? Okay.
The phrase, a new sheriff is in town, does not only belong to law enforcement. How about the introduction of Liberia's premier vodka, a quality and customized liquor for all occasions? Try the flavor of your choice. Ham's Vodka, Ham's Honey, Ham's Bitter, and Ham's Original Vodka. Ham's Vodka has no hangover. That's why they say Papa drank Mama happy. Ham's Vodka is sold in all stores, shops, supermarkets, and entertainment centers in Liberia. For wholesale, contact Ham's Vodka at 0777 001114, 0777 000-979. We can also be reached via social media on Facebook and IG at Ham's Vodka or www.hamsvodka.com. In the United States, please contact Hands North America Incorporated at 610-543-9289, 484-888-1622, 484-755-8411. Hands Vodka is approved by the U.S. federal government. Hands Vodka brings out the real man in you.
I tell you, in my boy, in my blood. Every time when I stay on the block, everybody knows it. We are stand. And forgot that number one. Oh, from Liberia all around.
Okay, folks, we're back, and let us just jump straight into this. And starting us off tonight, we just heard this morning a press conference from Senator Prince Ward Johnson of Nema County. Senator Johnson endorsed former Vice President Joseph Newman Boyka, and he has some very interesting and fascinating things to say today at that press conference. I want to bring in the pastor, the Reverend Idatus added to fill us in as we dive into some of the things that were said today by Senator Johnson. Idatus.
Well, what Senator Johnson did today was a tacit endorsement of the Vice President, His Excellency Joseph Iman Boyka, and he provided reasons on why he's endorsing this president. He termed President George Weah as a footballer president. He anticipated we have brought in several foreign direct investments. Unfortunately, that has not been his reality, compounded with the fact that rampant corruption, the printing of $64 billion unaccounted for, money has not been distributed throughout the economy to recoup the old notes, the fact that there's extrajudicial killings, and in fact places hope in Rescue One, called Joseph Boyka, and anticipates that Liberia will experience a new transformation under his leadership. Senator Johnson further went on to state that it was important that the public understands that some Namibian officials, such as the superintendent and the mayor, are being threatened by the president that if they do not endorse him, they will lose their jobs. He articulated highly that President George Weah must understand that Nima is united around him as the political godfather. And in spite of his massive amount of money, that will not influence the hearts and minds of the Namibians because he is their political godfather. And George Weah will be a one-term president of the Republic of Liberia. So he's also confident that Liberians can rest assured on April 28th, as Ambassador Boyka announces his VP, Nima will be shaking, Banga will be shaking, Monrovia will be shaking, and he's encouraging all Namibians to throw their support behind Vice President Joseph Yuma Boyka. Thank you.
Dr. Fisk, what do you make of the endorsement today by Senator Johnson for former Vice President Joseph Boyka?
Well, it's just political theater, if you ask me. And the reason for this is simple. Wasn't it Prince Johnson who also endorsed Mr. Weah for his first term? And some of the ills that Mr. Johnson speak of, isn't he currently partaking in those ills as well? And assuming Mr. Boyka wins the presidency, let's just set up that hypothetical for 1 second. Is Mr. Boyka going to audit Mr. George Weah? Because we know very well that when Mr. George Weah came into power, he did not audit Mr. Boyka because Mr. Boyka was part of that whole Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government. So these are issues that have not been spoken to.
But Mr. Boyka has said this from the onset that he would audit previous administrations, including Ellen and the one before her. So
yeah, it's just like it remains to be seen, right? If it happens, it becomes a political departure from what has occurred in the past. But all I'm saying is that the whole thing. It's important that Prince Johnson did an endorsement. Technically, it means that CDC doesn't have the kind of sway that it would have had in Nimba County, and that should be concerning for CDC, especially given that I always use the Darius Dillon factor. Darius Dillon won Monserrado County what it means is that a unified opposition, not necessarily structurally, can defeat CDC in Monserrato. So if CDC gets defeated in Monserrato and Nima County and possibly Grand Bassa County because of Liberty Party, I don't see how CDC can win an election in Liberia.
Senator
But
Johnson also touched on your turf today. He said President Weah came in as the guy who is well known for being the world's best, Africa's best, European best, and he takes power. People are still unemployed. There's no jobs in the country, and now he's threatening people from Nima that if they do not support him, some of the Nimbayans that they have in government, they will all lose their jobs.
what was Prince Johnson's calculation? Did he think that George Weah was going to create jobs? How was George Weah going to create jobs? Did he see something that George Weah did prior to becoming elected into the Senate that was presupposed to Mr. Prince Johnson that George Weah would create jobs for Liberians? No, George Weah did not have the presidential ambition to work for Liberia. He did not. So I mean, we hope that it works well and Mr. Weah gets changed, just because something needs to happen drastically in Liberia. But then we also have to take a step back and understand that it's not just about changing one placeholder and replacing that placeholder with another group that could be a placeholder. I mean, nothing against Mr. Barker personally, but we have a lot of work to do as a nation. Thank you.
Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts, Senator Johnson said a whole lot of things today during his press conference. He touched on the EPS soldier, a soldier that was murdered, and he went further to say the person that shot and killed the EPS was a lady, and he went further to say we have not gotten redress from the three missing boys now dead, the auditors murder, and he also talked about $64 billion being printed, and George Weah and his a clique are just using the money on themselves, and he said because of those things he cannot see himself supporting George Weah for a second term. They were in a political marriage, and that marriage, according to him, is no more. Mrs. Roberts.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Garley, and thank you to my fellow panelists. Before I speak to that, I would like to wish all our Muslim brothers and sisters a happy Ramadan, happy Eid Mubarak. Again, Mr. Garley, it's unfortunate that our people are always being played, for lack of a better word. You know, it's like I've heard people say this, and I'll repeat those. When the devil is in your corner, he's all good. When he's in the other people's corner, he's bad. We're talking about Prince Johnson. With all due respect to his endorsement to this current, the former vice president, and they are the same guys that have talked about this very Prince Johnson who is wishy-washy, and then. May I add that Prince Johnson is also a senator. So who's supposed to hold this executive accountable? He comes out and talk all this stuff, but what are they doing to hold him accountable? Only when you're called, he says, when I'm called, I would name the person who shot. And how did he see the person? It's just, these are wild accusations. While we do know someone shot them, but where was Prince? I know he said that, but it's just sinister to me that such thing happened. You are minister of the gospel. You have the key to the legislature. You are in the legislature, and you have not gone out to just go protest against this. You don't have to come out. Protest doesn't necessarily mean you have to be in the streets, but you in the Senate. You have the chambers, you have the ears of the people who have to listen to you. And whether they do something, but we want you to bring that issue out on the floor and speak about it. $64 billion? That same thing happened just when there was a transition. And what happened? They all took their part and went back and sat. So I feel the Liberian people are the victims of all of this play. While it's true we want to have opposition unity, but the unity it seems like it's at all costs.
Well, Reverend Adder, what do you make of the folks who think that Senator Johnson is a political prostitute? He will say one thing, and then later on, he changed his mind. We saw what happened in 2017. There was several political actors who went after Senator Johnson. Now, following the elections in 2017, the Southeast has gotten more populated since President Weah took office. As a matter of fact, uh, some supporters of Weah are saying Nima County is no more a factor because you have more people now in the southeastern counties than any other counties in the country. Evident is they just ended the census, and that's why they are not even perturbed when it comes to Senator Johnson making his endorsement for Ambassador Ware. Excuse me, Ambassador Boycott.
Well, precisely. You can increase the numbers in the Southeast all you want, but it takes human beings to vote. So if you don't have the physical number of human beings to go and vote, then what you will be doing is fraudulently stealing the elections. Prince Johnson in Nima County has consistently ranked fourth in the elections. Last year, they came to fourth place. So make no mistake, he's certainly a voice in Nima. Love him or hate him, politics is about numbers. So I can certainly empathize with those who have found Senator Johnson to be a man of a political harlot, they will call him. But the truth remains there are 99 days for rogue and 1 day for master. The one who cries wolf, 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 one day the wolf will show up. So maybe this is his wolf moment that he's come to be sincere to himself, to make a decision, having stated all of the challenges our nation is facing. He's enumerated them. He took his time and eloquently expressed them, and he deserves that benefit of the doubt on grounds that he too wants Liberia to change for the better. He dispelled several notions concerning whether or not he was bribed by this government. He was transparent enough to tell the public that President Weah helped him bury his mother. President Weah even gave him money for his birthday. So, if he has all that millions of dollars, then he wouldn't be doing what he's doing. But the fact remains, politics do make strange bedfellows. Now, there are those who are very concerned as to whether or not we're recycling the same old people and perhaps have nothing good to come out of it. Gave Honorable Boyka a chance and his vision: arrest, agriculture, road, education, sanitation, and tourism. This type of vision embodies the aspirations and dreams of every Liberian, young and old. So it is clear that I empathize with Liberians who are absolutely not so certain or doubtful of Senator Johnson's
At the
statement.
press conference today, Senator Johnson mentioned two names for a VP selection. He mentioned Alexander Cummings, and he also mentioned Jeremiah Cohn. And I'm told he also talked about this the United Nations resident coordinator in South Sudan, Mrs.
Beslow.
Sarah Beslow Yanti, and he said she has this impeccable credential, and but for the last several days, if not week, people are calling for boycott and Cummings ticket. Every spectrum of the coin that you turn, people are calling for this, and they went further to say this will be a one-term, let's say a first-round victory for the opposition if these two men come together. And nobody, it's saying. They will say things, behind the scene, but when they come to the public, they're saying it is left with Ambassador Boyka and Mr. Cummings to sit together and decide the fate of this country.
And Ashford, I certainly empathize with Ambassador Boyka. He's in a very difficult position, a real quagmire. Liberia is definitely a mixture of competent people.
Is that position more difficult than leading this country? The country is 1,000 feet deep. So
Well, no, what I was saying.
going through the test of time now in selecting his running mate.
Well, the Liberian public has. Go ahead.
This is where leadership comes in.
Right, and we have until April 28th, at which time those announcements will be made, and that announcement will determine whether or not those who are for Joseph Boyka will continue to support him for the greater good of the country, or it may improve momentum or decrease momentum. So he is in a very, very difficult state. But one thing we do know confidently is that he will be making that decision, and the Liberian people will know by April 28th. So as a man of wisdom and vision, I'm confident that Honorable Joseph Boyka will make a decision that will embody the dreams and aspirations of Liberians by and large.
Dr. Fisk, one of the names that is trending now on social media at home is the name Henry Costa. Henry Costa, people are saying that he should be mentioned in the selection of the VP pick for Ambassador Boyka. But let's take a listen to this young lady as she expresses her concern and admiration for Mr. Costa.
Presidential candidates, so to speak. Costa understands the issue. I think Costa also has a clear understanding and vision for the pathway that Liberia should take to get it on the track that it needs to get to go on. I also think that none of us can dispute Henry Costa's level of patriotism, how honest he is, how much of an ability that he has to bring people together.
I want to commend the closing argument for that clip. James?
Well, nothing she's saying over there is valid. Okay, we know. I mean, that's almost like a cliche across most African countries in terms of how the political leaders evolve and then function once they take power. Okay, when people are not in power, they say a whole lot of things, make so many promises and the rest of it, until they take power, and then you have a system in which you have almost like absolute authority. That's where people become corrupt. George Weah was known to be a very disciplined person when he played football in Europe. Look at what he turned out to be once he became president of Liberia. What has Costa demonstrated, other than being able to talk and being a talk show host? What has he done administratively? What has he done in terms of actual steps to create job opportunities for Liberians that people can look at and say, okay, fine, these are things that Costa have been doing in the past? But I just want to step back again and look.
Costa established a media platform and a radio station in Liberia and had up to 15 to 22 employees until his station was shut down, first by Ellen and then George Weah. Costa was once named the 30th most influential man in Africa. Besides, he has scars to show. He was jailed twice for speaking out. Thirdly, he was miles away, thousands of miles away, when he spoke in support of Justina Taylor, and she was subsequently released by this government. He was chased out of his own country, and he fled for safety abroad. So this young man, besides love for country, he has cause to show, and he has the educational credential to back up what is it that he intends to do. And I don't think mentioning him as one of those possible candidates or VP candidate for Boyka, I don't think it's a wrong thing.
No, I'm not saying it's a wrong. It's not a right thing. It may not be wrong, but it's not a right thing in the sense that
when you say it's not a right thing, what do you mean?
I'm about to address it. I'm about to address it.
Okay, go ahead.
It's not a right thing. It's not right in the sense that so Mr. Costa, he has had a number of interviews. He has had a number of utterances on the air that shows that he knew about a number of discrepancies that have been occurring in a number of these regimes. Some he spoke against, others he did not. Okay, and he was famously just on the man can't talk all, man can't talk all, right? Because there are certain things that he knows that that have not worked. I want to assume that have not worked in the interest of the public, and he knows those things, but will not speak up against that. What is it? Selective amnesia. When it came to other people, he could speak. When it comes to situations where his interest is at stake, then he remains silent. So then, what makes him different? But I want to just step back a little bit and talk about boycott and this endorsement from Prince Johnson. How do we then interpret this whole thing about war crimes court? For me, it's not a priority, but we know that a lot of Liberians have been clamoring for a war crimes court. Do we in politics have something called quid pro quo? In other words, give me something and I give you something. Did boycott promise for Mr. Johnson's endorsement that there would be no war crimes court? Have we investigated that? So these are all issues that we need to take very seriously. So, like I said, Mr. Costa it's not a right thing. It may not be wrong, but it's not just a right thing because I don't think Costa is ready yet.
But what is now right to you might be right to somebody else.
Yeah, I agree. It's a relative. Oh no, that I agree. It's a relative term. You had somebody speaking on behalf of Mr. Costa already on this program, and of course, if you do, didn't Costa run to be what, senator or representative in Montserrat County? So yeah, so he's tested the political waters. But what I'm saying in terms of the deliverables, I wouldn't be looking at somebody like Henry Costa because a lot of people talk and they don't deliver. Akara's Gray talked a lot, but then eventually he spent what, $90,000 or $100,000 in France when people don't have job in Liberia. So we have to be careful. We can't always just be carried away with rhetoric that people come and just talk. Even though, like you said, you listed other instances that can add to his credential, but I don't think it's sufficient.
Thank you, Mrs. Roberts.
Yes, I am on the fence as well. This is the gentleman who criticized other candidates, and he's not measured in the sense of his temperament. He's not well groomed to lead a nation, or better yet, be second in command. He may have knowledge of some issues. Yes, that's because someone tipped him off. Not everything. We all read every day, but we don't have access to some of the things he's had access to. And so I want to believe people give him some what's the word? Inside scoops. So that is not a prerequisite for leading a nation. We have issues. Yes, he may talk some of the talk. You're up on the mountain. But when you are tested in a valley, that's when we know your strength. And he just from this little thing where when he was mentioned as a possible running mate, people have their opinions. He has his opinion. He talks about everybody. He talks about a man who has lived his whole life or worked his whole life and worked to show himself ready. He lived in a country where most of us would like to just pick up and go, but we have started families. We have, built into the economy. We have our homes. We don't just pick that up and go into an economy where it's unstable. He put somebody who did that down. But soon as someone talks about you, you get to, start, telling everybody part of secret how they're doing this and doing that. And even talking down to the possible person who would select you as their running mate, you are talking about his supporters. They don't like you because they're jealous. Who does that? I mean, that's kitchen table talk, but you don't say that. So his temperament, I feel, is very childish. While he may have some insight on some things, how looking at, when you're out looking in, it's easy to say what you could do, as Dr. Fitz said. But when you get there, here you are, you have already sold your soul to some of the devils. it's not as easy to turn around when you have done such.
Well, Reverend added that. What do you have to say today, Shad? I mean, you have been in contact with Henry Costa. You know this young man. He's in Liberia now. Went and registered to vote. His name is out there as a possible running mate for boycott. One of the things I also heard is that he has not met the chairman of the Unity Party, and some executive members are resisting the idea that he will even be mentioned as a possible running mate to VP boycott. You know this man. You dealt with him before. What are your own thoughts?
Well, our constitution is very clear. You should be 35 years old, born in Liberia, must have had a property there. By that standard alone, Henry Costa qualifies to serve his country. Like you rightly stated, Ashford, this young man has scars. He's been a political and a social advocate for the Liberian people. A young man in his early 30s became a voice that changed the trajectory of our politics. So make no mistake, while there are resentment concerning his youthfulness or inexperience, those concerns may be valid. But the truth remains, he's come to America, he's gotten educated, and it remains the prerogative of Joseph Boyka to make that decision. So yes, there will be opposition. When you think about Yomli Kanga, there's opposition. You think about Henry Costa, there is opposition. You think about Jeremiah Cohn, there's opposition. Whoever name you mention now, there's opposition, and that is fine. We can have these oppositions and constructive criticisms regarding all of the various candidates. Let's just not do it in antagonism or animosity. The fact remains that he's well educated and he's demonstrated his love for Liberia in many different ways, shape, or form. As to whether or not he will be the pick of Ambassador Boyka, that's the VP's choice, or that his prerogative. So yes, Liberians' concerns are very well, well understanding, that they're concerned. They need someone who hit the ground running. But I've interacted with him. I found him to be a decent person. And that is the prerogative of the VP to make that decision.
Okay, folks, if we just...
Mr. Garley.
Yes.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I hear Dr. Pastor Adi saying that's the prerogative of the VP. While that is true, but he will be leading our country. So we're talking about his readiness and not being just a decent person, because all of us are decent people, but I'm not ready. I'm not sure to be the vice president.
Okay. Again, folks, if you're just joining us, this is ASHFORD GARLEY live on Breach Radio Africa. This program comes your way Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. If you have...
By the way, one of the listeners texted me and said, please put the Cash App number on.
Okay, Cash App. Thanks for reminding me. Okay, the Cash App is on there now. And again, we are on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. If you have a business out there that you want us to create awareness for your business, you can do that through advertisement, contact our marketing department, or if you have a program idea. We have 7 days a week, 65 days in a year, 365 days in a year. And again, if you have a program idea, you want to be part of the Bridge Radio platform, you can make the necessary arrangements with the marketing department, and of course, somebody that will talk to you. They'll take a word from a sponsor and come back.
It's supermarket store everywhere. And that number one. Di Lorenzo, G Grace. Hems Vocal, Liberia number one. Liberia number one, right? Okay.
The phrase, a new sheriff is in town, does not only belong to law enforcement. How about the introduction of Liberia's premier vodka, a quality and customized liquor for all occasions? Try the flavor of your choice. Ham's Vodka, Ham's Honey, Ham's Bitter, and Ham's Original Vodka. Hans Vodka has no hangover. That's what they say, Papa drink, Mama happy. Hans Vodka is sold in all stores, shops, supermarkets, and entertainment centers in Liberia. For wholesale, contact Hans Vodka at 0777 001114, 0777 000-979. We can also be reached via social media on Facebook and IG at Hans Vodka or www.hansvodka.com. In the United States, please contact Hans North America Incorporated at 610-543-9289, 484-888-1622, 484-755-8411. Hans Vodka is approved by the U.S. federal government. Hans Vodka brings out the real man in you.
I tell you, in my boy, in my blood. Every time when I stay on the block, everybody knows it. We husband. And forgot that number one. Oh.
Okay, we're back, folks, and I want to say a big thanks to all of you for being on here as always. Let us talk about Alice Cummings, country, Congo, politics of division. I don't know, but you know, this is political season and we have to touch a little bit of everything. I want to start off with the Reverend Idatus Added. What do you know so far when it comes to Alice Cummings' belief as it relates to country and Congo division?
Well, I listened to the video on Facebook wherein he stated that the Congo people kept a bowl of rice to themselves. Listening to that comment alone in the midst of a Liberia that is so yet recovering from war, instability as a result of tribalism and division and politics of divide, I certainly did not expect that to come from him. But then again,
what did you understand? What did you understand from that statement that the Congo people kept the bowl of rice to themselves?
Well, it's a politics of divide. You know that the resources of the nation was never shared with everybody. That's how I understood him. And what I've often loved about his analogy over the years, I followed him, had been that Liberia is this bowl of rice where everyone should be given an opportunity to eat from this bowl of rice. I think it's an excellent analogy.
So don't you think
then again,
you're trying to move away from what happened in the past about where you heard him say the Congo people kept the bowl of rice to themselves, and now he's the St. Alice Cummings that is telling you that we have this bowl of rice and we are inviting everyone to come and partake of this bowl of rice?
Well, that is also possible. I mean, that is absolutely true. That has been his message. He wants all Liberians to participate in this bowl of rice. But when you make such a statement out of context, in terms of not critically looking at the leadership of the quote-unquote Congo/America Liberians and their contribution to Liberia, wherein we had good schools, we had, good hospitals, good jobs, among several other things that happened, that statement assumes that Liberians were totally, completely out of the very sharing of their nation's resources, which is not entirely true. But I can understand how politics can be pressuring, and he's been branded as this Congo man and as an elite. So yes, sometimes it gets very difficult to navigate our Africanized or Liberian politics. So you want to distance yourself from that reality. So sometimes there will be political gaps. I don't find him to be anyone that is anti-Congo or anti-indigenous in any way, shape, or form. I don't think that's his style, but politics can be sometimes very difficult and people may be forced to do that. In fact, Joseph Boyka was lambasted by the late Charles Walker Brumskin, Councillor Walker Charles Brumskin, for also preaching similar politics of divide in Liberia, that we should be preaching unity and oneness for greater good. Such politics can be very triggering for a potential problem. I would like for him to, in fact, all of the politicians emulate men like Paul Kagame that ban the use of Hutu Tutsi politics. Let's emulate John McCain that, in fact, told a lady in a town hall meeting when she thought that Barack Obama was a Muslim and an Arab, as she said. And John McCain paused and said, no, ma'am, no, he's a decent gentleman. He's a great American who wants the same job I want. He is not a Muslim. He's not an Arab. He's a decent American. That's the kind of politics I would like to see, where we can compete.
That was all politics aside, right? He allocated and said things that were done in the past. Now he's coming and rebranded the message by saying this Bowl of Rice does not only belong to the Concord people, this Bowl of Rice is also for the country people, or as long as you are a Liberian, you are entitled to partake of this Bowl of Rice. So I don't see why we are saying that the fact that he mentioned that the Bowl of Rice was kept to the Congo people themselves, but he's the same guy that is telling you that now is the time where we have equal employment opportunity for every Liberian instead of just saying the privileged few.
Can I come in?
I mean, he
Go
can.
ahead.
Yeah,
Come
go
in.
ahead.
All right,
Oh, okay, no, I'm sorry.
So Ashford, there are many ways you can make that inclusion without dividing us. Is that statement in fact true? Where Liberians isolated economically out of their own country through the administration of the quote unquote Americo-Liberians or Congo people? The history is there. Yes, there was a political divide. Yes, for 100 and X number of years, for 33 years, pending the coup, these political discriminations were there. Economically, when you look at the Liberia you have now versus what you had before, 43 years later, poor schools, poor hospitals, poor airports, dirty city, unsafe drinking water, and the list goes on. Rampant corruption, nepotism, that which they were killed for. All of these different things, when you say people kept it to themselves, when in fact you got legislators taking $30,000 home for pay as compared to yesteryears, and you have more tribalistic, more divided government, regionalism, as the Senator Prince Johnson reported today. So who's keeping the bowl of rice from who?
Dr.
Right now.
Fisk, what do you make of this statement?
Yeah, the thing is, Mr. Cummings ran into this Backup Mafia politics because he's trying to gain favor. And then just like Backup Mafia, is like history have come another full cycle. Just like Backup Mafia, he misstated the history of Liberia, okay? Because it's simple, and it's a disservice when politicians try to divide Liberians as a word trying to gain favor. Backup Matthew did the same thing. Now, Mr. Cummings, the only technically, even those that came from the States to establish Liberia were Africans. They were taken from Africa. So by right, every African is an indigenous to Africa, okay? But even if you say, for the sake of argument, those people came from America, what about their children, their grandchildren, and every other people after them? Are they not indigenous? That's the question. So every person born on Liberian soil is an indigenous Liberian. But as far as the indigenousness of Liberians are concerned, you have a number of groups, including Congo, which, because of the discrimination of the past, have not been mentioned as one of the tribes in Liberia. So right now, Liberians talk with 16 tribes rather than 17 tribes. Instead of correcting that hasn't been corrected. Mr. Cummings come and say something that makes no sense. Number one. Number two, even you go back and look at the history. When you talk about the bowl of rice, that bowl of rice, for me, it signifies when iron ore, rubber, and all those things were discovered. Were they discovered 1847? No, they were not. I think they started under CDB King, I think, and then, but the bulk of that stuff was under Tubman. So that whole period was like maybe like 40 to 50 years, because Tubman had it for 20 something, and then Tubman had it for another 10. So we're looking at least about 30, 40 years that these people actually had the means to share. Okay, and even at that time, you have to understand that how Africa was looked at the time. So even when they came to negotiate those things, it was lopsided against Liberia. And then look at what has happened after 1980, because that was supposed to be the watershed moment where a bunch of Liberians, indigenous Liberians of Congo origin, were slaughtered. And then people talk about American Liberia. I always try to educate people. The American Civil War happened 1860s. Liberia had independence 1847. The Emancipation Declaration was in 1860. So the people that came were not actually American Liberians, because American means Americans. They were not seen as citizens of America. They were seen free men of color and stuff like that. The actual American Liberians are those Liberians who came to America and naturalized. So you have Bassa people who are American Liberians. You have Crown people who are American Liberians. You have Loma.
Thank you, Face. Let me bring in Mrs. Roberts.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Garley. Thank you to my fellow panelists. I
Hello?
listen.
Hello? Okay,
Yes.
yeah. So it's extremely disingenuous in the 21st century to still be talking as if to say you have some Liberians who are more indigenous than others. No, every Liberian is an indigenous. And you have Congo people who are indigenous Liberians because they were not born in Sudan. They were born right in Liberia and raised in Liberia. Okay, so it doesn't make any sense any way you frame it. So long story short, like I agree with the pastor. I think Mr. Cummings was trying to gain favor, and he used the most divisive weapon that currently exists in Liberia to score that point. And I think that point was a very cheap point, and he owes an apology to the families whose blood was shed in 1980 for a sham kangaroo court.
We'll leave it right there.
And then right now, people are still jubilating people who are thieves in government, and other people are killed for it.
Thank you.
It makes no sense.
Mrs. Roberts.
Yes, thank you. Again, I did listen to part of that speech, and while I sort of agree with your points, the two gentlemen, however, this is what our people have. And I'm not condoning that he did that. However, this is what they're saying to him. He's been out there. He's hearing, oh, this man is Congo. These people, the Congo people did this. The same thing they did with even Ellen, the educated people, and has a person who we have now. But I think in his defense, he's trying to tell them, I agree with you, okay? And I'm not condoning it, but sometimes some answers, some situations call you to answer the way the situation presents itself. They're out there, and I've heard it. I hear people on social media, just on these forums, saying those kinds of words, or they're calling into the shows and saying that. So he's trying to tell them, okay, you say that's what happened, but I am, as you said, American Liberian. He was born in Liberia. He grew up in Liberia. He comes from humble beginnings, just like the rest of us. But since y'all want to hold me to my ancestry, for lack of a better word, my philosophy is this: all of us will eat from this bowl. And the only reason you will not eat is if you're lazy or if you don't participate. But you have the right, just like I have the right, my children have the right, my friends have the right. All of us will do it. So to me, I took it as just telling them, forget that past. Those people did that, but I'm not going to repeat that. That's how I looked at it. Again, the wording may not be the best, but that he's speaking for a particular demographic who has this mindset. That's my thought. Mr. Garley, are you there?
Okay, Mrs. Roberts, thank you. I think we should leave it right there and take a few calls from our viewers. Let us go to Iowa. Hello, caller. Tell us your name.
For Lord, brother. that are on your platform. My name is Bert Denoa. I'm calling from the state of Iowa to this city in Cedar Rapids.
1 minute, please.
Yeah, no, don't give me 1 minute.
I beg you.
5 more. I have that more on the shows, please.
Okay.
If you can give me my 2 minutes, because I want to make some important suggestions and saying to the Liberian people.
Okay, your 2 minutes start now.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Start right now. Thank you, Mr. Dallas. Thank you very much. The time for us is about to be here on the 28th of this month. Mr. Garley, let me start with my dear and loved sister, Miss Ravers. Miss Ravers, if you have a child, if the child have a mouth, consider him. If you have your daughter and that girl child has a mouth, consider him. We were about to lose another Liberian in Liberia. Costa sat millions of miles away and rescued Justina Peter. He has done a lot for the Liberian people. If he is not a pick for Joseph Boakai, whosoever Joseph Boakai pick, Costa will support that person. And Reverend, thank you for your analysis. That board of Rex, that identical board of Rex, now split, will continue to be healing from us. Example, Josh Weir, number 1. Number 2, Stockman, the only president that shared that board of Rex in Liberia. It was Tober and second was Do.
Thank you, William. Thank you.
Senseless war between us. That's why the board of Red did not continue until after his presidency. There not be bull yet.
Thank you, my brother.
That remark is wrong.
Thank you so much.
This is the reason why the Liberian people would not elect you as the president. Thank you very much.
Do know I called in from Iowa. We'll have Dr. Kula on the line. Hello, Doc. Welcome to the show. Dr. Bantu Kula. Hello. Okay, he's okay. A 763 number. The last 4 digits of the number 7242. Please tell us the name.
Yeah, first time caller, Elvis Morris from Minnesota.
Hey, Eric, go ahead.
And hello to your panelists tonight.
Yeah.
I kind of want to echo a little bit of what the last caller said, only when it comes to Dr. Fisk, because I think, this whole point that Dr. Fisk is trying to make that in some, quasi Liberia, we are not discriminating against the Congo people, which is absurd. Some of the wealthiest people in that country are still the Congo. To paint them to be. The reality is what Cummings was saying. He was acknowledging the past. We who are natives, we cry about this whole thing that many of us was just, were excluded during the boom time of our country, when the country was really enjoying. A lot of the quote unquote tribal people who wasn't part of the ruling elite wasn't enjoying the country. So when Cummings is talking about people will be able to eat from that bowl of the economy, so to say, he's only acknowledging that during the past, people wasn't, everybody wasn't eating equally from the country, so to speak. So I don't think Dr. Fish should try to make the analogy that,
thank you.
Can
I ask him a question before he leaves?
One of the tribe, or then this and that. I don't know his background. If he's
okay.
I got one question to ask him before he leaves.
Thanks. Hold on, Elvis. Hold on. I'll give Dr. Fish a few seconds to ask you a question.
Just one question. Help me understand when people when Liberians typically use the word Congo and natives, are they still trying to suggest, like Mr. Cummings, that in the 21st century, Congo people, like right now, we're not talking Joseph Jenkins Rawa. We're talking about the children, great-grandchildren of those people. Are they not indigenous Liberians? Is that what you're trying to say? That's the question.
Well, my understanding, Dr. Fish, is that there were 2 classes of people, right? That was quote unquote in the elite. You had the repatriated, people from the United States who had, were either descendants of slaves or former slaves, or they themselves was once enslaved. And then you had those who were captured Africans from ships, from Nigeria, from.
I'm not talking
from
history,
Ghana,
my brother. You're taking
other places.
time. I'm talking
Those
about
are,
currently in the 21st
those are the
century.
people we
The
refer to as
children
colonists.
of those
Hold on,
people,
Doc.
are they not
Hold on. She
indigenous?
asked me
Are
the
they
question,
foreigners?
Doc.
That's the question. I'm not talking about
And
1827.
sometimes
I'm talking about now. Now.
Hold on, Doc.
that's the point. That's the point that I'm trying to make. People say there's no more Congo people or no more American Liberian people in the country. That's not true. Your father's blood is your blood, and that blood continues. So you
Are those people indigenous
to
Liberians
make
or not? That's the
to other
question.
tribes. But your father's blood is your blood. That's why you have the
Are
urine.
those people indigenous Liberians or not?
Okay,
That's the
thank you.
question.
Because
Okay,
their family came
thank
from
you,
this country
gentlemen.
and repatriated.
Thank
to
you. We'll
Liberia.
have other callers on the line. Thank you, Elvis. Okay, we'll bring in
Why Elvis not on the show tonight?
Dr. Kula. Good question. Hello, Doc.
Yeah. Hi, Ashford. Can you hear me well?
Loud and clear.
Good. All right. I think what Dr. Fisk is trying to say is that Liberians currently born, whether they're Americo-Liberian stock or not, whether they're indigenous to Liberia. Now, we can say, yes, you're indigenous to Liberia. I think the distinction is whether we have what you call indigenous African Liberians, I guess Native Africans, like those who are on the soil, versus those that came in. But let's not try to parse and divide and all of that. But I don't think Cummings was really trying to divide. I think Cummings was just trying to do something what we all need to do: self-awareness. Look at ourselves and look at our problems from a deep perspective. And then once we look at the problem, we can then fix the problem. But if we continue to deny that there wasn't division, there wasn't selfishness on the part of those that first started the republic, the first republic, and then the selfishness continued with Doe. Doe was very selfish. It was all crown people. Now the selfishness has continued with the CDC. If you're not CDC man, you don't get a position or whatever the case may be. And I think we need to move from that.
Thank you,
and
Doc.
hopefully the next group will bring in a meritocracy. So we don't need no thin resumes where you never had any job, you never ever supervised anybody, you never held any executive leadership skills, and then you want to be in leadership positions. I think we need to get away from that.
Thank you so much. All right. Okay, our last caller. You have 1 minute, sir. It's a 612 number. Tell us your name, please.
Terry calling from Minnesota.
Okay. 60 seconds, please. Go ahead.
Yes, so I heard you guys were talking about Henry Costa trying to be the running mate of BB Vodka if he could be picked. In my thought, I think that Henry Costa have already said that he don't want any job that will put him in a position where he will not be able to speak. And that is the reason why he want to go as a representative. But I see there's a sense of zeal in him trying to go as running mate, which I think he's being programmed. And I don't think JMB it will be good for him to make that decision.
Thank you.
Because there is a hidden agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay, folks, I want to say a big thanks. We have another program lined up. I will give each of you 20 seconds each to give us your partner statement, starting up with the revenue that you cited. I'll meet your mic, please.
I like the fellow Liberians. I'm very optimistic about a unified opposition in light of all of the discrepancies and back and forth. I think what I'm hearing so far is that there is hope for Liberia's trajectory to change against what we're currently experiencing as a government. We've become an international pariah that needs to be resolved. And the vision of Joseph Imabwega remains the best opportunity for a wholesome functioning society, in the words of Talbot. Let's register and vote and make that difference for that Liberia we can one day dream again and be proud of and retire in when we leave these foreign shores. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Fisk.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation that's still occurring in Liberia. So let's assume somebody who has a Congo lineage. We have patrilineal inheritance in Liberia. So in other words, we inherit from our father's side. So if a Congo guy from a Congo background took a crown girl and had a child by her, so that child is what? Is not an indigenous, but that child is Congo because that's patrilineal inheritance. Liberians need to start understanding that when you talk about Congo and whatever, you're not talking 1847 anymore. That time came and went. We in the 21st century. That's the tendency of Africans not to want to make progress. And that's so unfortunate. And that's one of the reasons why our country continues to be kept backwards.
Thank you. Mrs. Roberts.
Thank you so much. Thank you to our viewers and our listeners. Thank you to my friend, fellow panelists. To Brother Denoir, who singled me out as well, saying, I don't know what he said about what I said about Costa. Believe me. In fact, the reason I'm on this show is because of Costa. I called in
Go ahead.
to talk, during these topics. And I will always call to talk to Mr. Garley, and I think he started recognizing my voice. I support Costa as an advocate. He's great at doing that. And of course, the future is bright. He's a young man. But I'm speaking, we are all in the interest of our country. And we have to put right where right belongs. He still needs to mature.
Thank you.
I love you. I thank you. Go and vote.
Thank you. And folks, that's all the time we have to be with you. God willing, we'll be back next Monday with a fresh, brand new edition of the program, ASHFORD GARLEY Live on Bridge for Africa. Ladies, gentlemen, thanks. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garley.
Yes, yes, yes. Good evening, good evening. We are here again. Yes, go corruption, go. Tiawan Gonglo says, go corruption, go. Hello out there in the social media world. Hello to all of our listeners. We want to welcome you again to this edition of the BLC, that is the Better Liberia Caravan. The caravan today is moving, and last week we were in Cape Mount, actually in Riverset last week. We left from Riverset last week. This week, the caravan is heading towards the southeast. I just want to welcome you at this particular hour. Be our guest, be with us, sit tight. We are bringing you more information. Other panelists will come on right now. We have differences in time. They're in different time zone, and I am in different time zone. So I'm just going to hold the platform until they come on. I want to welcome you again to this edition of our Better Liberia Caravan.
Corruption is a vile disease that sucks and drains the health out of something good. Corruption in society is an evil moral infection that keeps community in the state of perpetual sickness. Corruption is a moral virus. It's so potent it leaves its host sick, lethargic, and unable to realize and accomplish all that a well person can. Where corruption thrives, poverty and not prosperity thrives. Wealth is grabbed into the greedy, grubby hands of those who get fat on the toil and labor of good people. Corruption benefits only temporarily those who participate in it. Everyone else is a victim of the theft, the deceit, the dishonesty, and the lies that corruption feeds on. You need to know that a corrupt person is stealing from you. Corruption is
Okay.
Frankie LV, a wrong step by a leader is a warning to the followers. Our liberator is here. They want to go all the way. Iron Lady Records, sweet sound. Lima guaya ume bongo, la biama ya obore bongo, jawa bongo, jawa bongo. Say wa ya, abola bia se ne ye wa gbe ya. Lo fa ye wa gbera, papa dia wa bongo bonu ile. You know wa ya, me go ni ma ine yi wa tere. Zaba lo gbo yi, ni wa lo wa gbo yi, apo ma won da me wa lo wa gbo yi. That the pa, the German of the movement. Corruption la yen pona, me wo kwa wa yi ba wo ne ara wo. Ega ye wa wo, apo ni ma no se ga ye wa so. Prende ye pona pone, kanu gbe ore, kanu gbe va gamo lo.
Yes, we are back again. Thank you so much. If you're just joining us tonight, my name is Edith Gongloway, one of the producers of the Better Liberia Caravan. I am going to be joined shortly. I believe he's backstage. Producer, if you are hearing me, could you please bring Dr. Pan in, because I think he's already in studios. And so I'm going to be joined tonight by Dr. Sam Pan, along with Philip Woods. So tonight, again, on the Caravan, we're going to be discussing trending issues. You're welcome, Dr. Pan. I see you're strapped in your car. It seems like you're driving somewhere. Yes, America. That's the story. Always busy doing something. So, but anyway, you're welcome. We are glad to have you here tonight. We missed you last week with all the multiple schedules. I see that Philip Woods had just sent me a text. He's on his way as well. Yeah, he's on his way, so he'll be joining us shortly. So, Dr. Pan, anything, so many issues, so many things are going on in Liberia. The Better Liberia Caravan continues to move. The Better Liberia agenda continues to be preached by our able messenger, Councillor Tiawonse Gonglo, the broom man, the poor man lawyer. So anything from your end before we can start shooting?
Listen, man, I am so excited. I am so pumped up to be here. That's why I kept trying to see if I can speed and break all the rules so that I can be in an office. But it was listen. I think I told you guys this story the last time when Councillor Gonglo and myself were on a international, a national highway, and when it was time for him to teach a class at LU, he said, "My man, let me use your hotspot. It's time for my class to start." I said, "But we ain't reach here." He said, "Listen, this is what being disciplined means. I mean, when my class start at 8, whether I in a car or I in the bathroom or I in front of a student in the classroom, I gotta be there at 8 o'clock." So I was postponing, like, okay, hang in there, let me reach and I'll call you. But I remember that discussion with him. I said, "Listen, when you make that commitment," he said, "I will do this. When that time comes, you must do it." So, I mean, Councillor Gonglo has already started impacting lives, making a difference. Imagine if even 50% of Liberians got impacted that way. That say, "Listen, when you commit to getting to work at 8 a.m., you got to start your work at 8 a.m. How far you think Liberia will be today?" So I am just excited to be here, and I don't care whatever we have to do tonight. I will do the best I can. I'm here.
Yes.
We all sat tonight, and we're going to raise that money tonight to make sure that a better Liberia, which we have always been saying is possible, but by the time this meeting is over tonight, we want to be saying a better Liberia is coming. Let the people start expecting that better Liberia. We're going to be outside tonight until that better Liberia, we all can start saying a better Liberia is coming.
Amen. Yes. Is that Bush? Is Bush coming on? Why I keep calling Philip Woods Bush?
Yeah, you keep doing that.
Yes, but continue. Dr. Pan, I want to send this number to our producer real quickly. Please continue. Yeah.
So, guys, listen. Yes, the message is very simple. And by this time, I think you guys, those of you who know me, you know that my own profession is the study of how people think and how people behave. That's my own specialty. And I think the Liberian people have had enough time. You know, there are times when we don't know people, we say that just hope. Because we don't know them. We're just hoping that they will be better. But you come to a point where you pass that movement of hope, you yourself, then people start to hold you accountable for your own action, right?
Yes.
Children were growing up, you were hoping which one of them would take care of you. By the time they're 25, you probably already know which one you will depend on when you turn 65. Same thing with Liberia. We have come to the point now where each Liberian needs to start thinking that we have passed the era of hope. We're now at the era of accountability. When our October 10th, we're talking about when it comes, each and every one of you in Liberia will be held accountable for that decision. You know everybody that in the race now. You know them. So you will not be voting on hope. You will be voting on who can deliver based on what you already know. And I hope I can convince you tonight that Councillor Tiawonse Gonglo, after I have done my own research, when we go past hope, that is where Liberia needs to be.
Yes, After you've done your own research. I love that, Dr. Kwan. You know, the thing with this man is so amazing that people who don't even know him, the broom man, that poor man's lawyer, sometimes you talk to people and they say, I haven't heard the name. And you just let them go do your own research. They come back even more fired up than you were when you talked to them. So I had an encounter last week. I talked to a lady who someone recommended and said, oh, this lady, I talked to her. So just call and talk to her. And by the way, she's in your state. She's in Minnesota. So I called her and I started to talk with her. She said, my sister, I had given up on Liberian politics. All of the people in the race, I gave up. When I saw the lineup, I just said, you know what? I'm going to live and die in America. Because from what I see, there's no hope for Liberia. She said, until somebody talked to her. And then she said, I've heard about this man. Let me do my own research. Not only that she researched on the internet, she started to call Liberia. And she says that she has an older son who lives in Liberia. Everyone she talked to in Liberia, the story was consistent, almost like a symphony. Everyone talked about not just that he's straight and forward, they talk about his sense of nationalism, the stress that this man will go any length for Liberia. And she said to herself, but then this gives me hope. If this is the kind of guy, if we have somebody like this still in Liberia, when I talked to her, she said, I never believed that we ever have somebody of the character that was described to me still in Liberia. So I am sold. Whatever it will take, she said, if I have to go to Liberia to run this campaign, even though I never planned it, I'm going to do that. So let's fast forward, Dr. Kwan. You know, the interesting thing is, every time we hear our people talk about change, and I don't know whether it has become, you know, like second place or like it's become part of their lifestyle. They talk about change. Everybody wants change. Everybody wants to change the current government. Previous government, people wanted to change the UP government as well. They were tired with UP. Prior to UP, before the war, people were tired with DOE. We are always so tired that we don't examine the option, or we don't examine who we want, you know, to replace that one that we are tired with. I remember 1990, everybody wanted the war. They were almost like, you know, Taylor, hurry and come. Some of those who were rushing for the war were killed in the war. Their hands in jubilation were closed in death and cold blood.
Yes.
We didn't learn. Then came the Akosomos and all of that. And everybody was like, we're tired with these war laws. We want a businessman this time. Because you know what? A businessman has the ability to take care of his own. So we need a businessman to take care of Liberia. The story, like you know and I know today, has become another history. Then came Madame Sirleaf. Sooner than later, Liberians were fed up with
Professional politician and economist.
they were fed up with Madame Sirleaf. Oh, we're tired with this UP. It's time for them to go. We don't care. We want George Weah. Whether the person was prepared or not, there's always this anxiety to change and never really take time to assess and examine what we want to replace this current person with. We are faced with the same situation today. You know, they used to say, well, you know, we are taking the lesser of the two evils, but we can say on this platform, on the Better Liberia Caravan, in this case, we no longer have all evils. We don't have lesser of evils. We have somebody really good by their history, by their policies, not just that he has a clean character, but he also has a message. He also has a plan that is so clear and so crystal clear and clean This is what Liberians have wished for. Liberians have consistently cried that our country is down because of lack of rule of law, because of corruption, rampant corruption, and because of the lack of the political will to fight corruption. We've cried because our country has always been led by people who practice cronyism, tribalism, sectionalism, but then you have one in the box that, or let's say in a batch of leaders or contenders, you have one whose record shows that level of meritocracy, I should say, who believes that you get what you deserve, who does not look at tribe, who does not look at class, who looks at you first as a Liberian who is deserving. We have that. And who has a clear message of what needs to be done to lift this country from the dungeon of poverty to a place that it can be recognized as another nation that will meet the standards of nationhood. Because to be called a nation, to be a sovereign nation, there are characteristics, there are requirements that must be filled. As we are right now, yes, we are a sovereign nation, but our nationhood is questionable because of what we do as a nation, what the government does for its country, for its citizens. Our education is in the dump. Our healthcare system is shattered. Our road infrastructure, every infrastructure, general infrastructure, is in the dump. Everything, our economic system is completely archaic. So you have somebody who has a different mentality, different view, and different plan, the 10-point agenda that we talk about. So now there will be no more excuse as to we are choosing the lesser of the two evils or of the three evils.
After he became president in 1997,
Okay, can you pause that video? Let me just end this train of thought.
Spread instability across
please. So I just wanted to end here before we go to the video, and then Dr. Pan, I'm killing time so that you can resume and be real settled. You know, yeah. So now Liberians are presented with an opportunity, and we say here, time without limit, that our election must not be commercialized. It should not be who has the largest, wallet or deepest purse. It should not be that. Of course, politics, it takes money to run campaign. But like I've always said on this platform, that money does not have to be your money. We see it in these diasporas that we live in. We see it in Europe, in America, in Asia, everywhere. People raise money because they expect their public servants to go and serve them. And so they do the first thing and the most honorable thing to support that which they like. You see, right now, former President Donald Trump has started fundraising. He's out fundraising most of his contenders. You know, why? He a billionaire. But why are Republicans who believe in his policies putting their money there? Not because they like former President Trump. We've listened to some Republicans who say, I don't like this guy, the way he talks. I don't like his demeanor. I don't like the way he's disrespectful to everybody. He's arrogant. But you know what? I'm supporting him because I like his policies. The country's survival and where the country goes depends on the policies of the person in charge. Our situation is such that people don't vote on policies. Some of the people that people talk about today whose names are ringing, they almost don't have any policy. Some of them, when you ask why you want to take Liberia, it's only because we want Liberia to be good. How it will be good, they never explain to you. They want to make millionaires. How do we make the millionaires? They don't explain it to you. They want to make sure there's good economic policies. They don't explain that to you. But we have a candidate who has been able to crystal clearly explain how, why, when. That's what we need. And if those things don't happen, the issue of accountability kicks in. He talks about, look, if this one doesn't happen, I can resign. How clearer can a policy be for us to believe that policy? And so, yes, producer, as we continue, please roll that video. Let me call my other panelists and make sure they're on. Are you hearing me, producer? Roll the video that you are rolling right now. Yes. Dr. Pan has arrived.
I am in the crib.
So
all
now
right.
all that target and stuff need to go up now. Yes.
Yeah, you know.
You're in
So
your
we're
crib
ready.
now.
We're ready for this. All right. So I heard what you were saying, but one of the things we want to correct and one of the messages we want to bring that sometimes the Liberian people don't want to hear is like, hey, this thing is going to take each and every one of us.
Mm-hmm.
What we need is a leader that will bring us together to work together to get to the next
Tiawan
place.
Gonglo is one of Liberia's leading human rights lawyers. My name is Benaifa Roji from Human Rights Watch. Charles Taylor began his bloody insurrection against the Liberian government in 1989. After he became president in 1997, Taylor supported rebel forces in neighboring countries and spread instability across West Africa. He also destroyed civil society at home in Liberia. Journalists, political opposition members, and human rights activists all came under attack. Among the leaders of civil society was Tiawan Gonglo. Tiawan provided a legal defense for many Liberians who fell afoul of Taylor and his henchmen. Liberians in trouble always knew that Tiawan's door was open. He helped to keep dozens of his countrymen out of prison and alive. In April 2002, Tiawan gave a speech condemning violence as a route to political power. Evidently, that was the last straw, and the police threw him in prison, where he was severely tortured. After an international outcry, Tiawan was hospitalized. He came to exile in the United States last year. Liberia now lies in shambles. Hundreds of thousands of people have fled their homes. Bands of government soldiers and rebel fighters are still terrorizing civilians in the countryside. But this is also a moment of hope. President Charles Taylor is under international indictment and has gone into exile. UN and West African peacekeepers are trying to keep a fragile peace. This moment in history belongs to people like Tiawan Gonglo. Because he labored in the darkest times to keep the ideals of human rights alive. Because he lived through the worst that human beings can do. And because he stands for the best that we all can do together.
Yes. Yes. Because he stands for the best that we.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Thousands of people have fled Sudan's capital, Khartoum, amidst an increasingly dire humanitarian.
Well, sorry about that. I think the producer went to sleep.
No, well, I think he thought we were to the international session. But, you know, this is what happens when you think that people who think of themselves as being better than the rest of the people in their country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sudan today is fighting because there's two people there who say they are better than the rest of the country,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, here's what I'm not going to be calling names tonight, but I'm just warming up.
Mm-hmm.
But when they talk about Liberians, when they talk about doing your own research,
Yes.
gentlemen, ain't none of the people today, even if they get their own $80 million in their bank account, that you'll make president of Liberia, and then they will come and face Liberia for you. Nobody. And at some point, when you're putting your hope in people who are not honest, people who want to tell you what you want to hear, but they're not work from their heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how long would it take the Liberian people to know that? How long? How long would it take for the Liberian people to know that in order for us to change, we need somebody that will come and say, listen, guys, if this country is going to change, we all are going to do it. We all will suffer a little bit. We all will sacrifice a little bit. But when we do it together, our children will not have to suffer. But what we do, you name all the former presidents, and the reason they failed us is they figure out, and I want the Liberian people to hear this. You have these politicians that paid people and say, what do the Liberian people want me to say? And they come out with these smart phrases like change for hope or did other thing. And they come out with that. They pay them to think about it, and they say, when you tell the Liberian people this thing, they will just follow you. And those people come and they say those things, and you just follow them like blind sheep. And then at the end, when the election over, those people treat you like dirt. Right? How many times do we have to go through that cycle before you realize the most important thing in the leader is character? You want a president over there that loves Liberia so much that they'll work 10 hours a day instead of 4 hours, even though the law will pay them for 8 hours, but they'll put 10 because they love Liberia so much. You don't want to put somebody there that even though we're paying them for 8 hours, they only work for 3 or 4 hours. It's like, what do you think if the president actually is working 10 hours? You think the minister then will be gallivanting around? Everybody going to work. But guess what? If we all put the sacrifice together, we all going to win together. If we got a president that look at the country as a team, we like the Lone Star and that president is the captain. Is something wrong with Sano? It's like your number 3, 4 head team, the whole team suffers. You run there and fix it. Something wrong with Kolahon. He said, oh, like my number 4, that 4 head team, you run there and fix it. But you got the captain, where you say, okay, all the people on the right hand side are my people, then the one on the left hand side, that 4 bracer, I don't care. How you think that team will win? So what you need, guys, listen, man. Since they talk about this lady that gave up on politics and said, okay, let me go check on my own. The truth is out there, guys. I want to call people names, but if I say, okay, the other person that been in government 50 years, go on YouTube, you will hear, you will see it. The other person that been president for a few, 5 years, go over there. The truth is all out there. You can see it. But when October 10th comes, we are throwing the ball in the court of each and every Liberian that the decision you're going to make that day will determine whether your next 10 years will be better than today. Whether your children will suffer the same thing where you're suffering today, or your children own will be a little bit better. Each and every one of us are responsible. The thing is no longer in God's hands. God put it in your hands. God came to the children of Israel and said, choose today who you will follow. He didn't say, oh, yo, well, let me come do it for you. No. He gave the choice. And the election that on a day is like Joshua standing there telling the children of Israel, choose today who you gonna follow. He said, as for me and my house, we already know. I'm here today to tell you too, as for me and my house, we already know. But left for you. You can choose your own suffering. You can choose to eat. Somebody throw money at you that you can eat for only 2 days or 1 week, and then you suffer for 6 years. But that choice will be unto you. So we're here today, guys. Madam Edith, I want to open this whole. I don't know if you're open the fundraiser yet.
Yes,
But I just
the
came from
cash app
Liberia. I spent a whole month over there where I came. I was zero. But I'm gonna open the fundraiser tonight. I'm gonna open the fundraiser tonight with something small, because I said when you're asking people for something, you yourself must post something. So I'll post something there, let the thing start flowing, guys. Two reasons I like these fundraisers. Number one, in politics, the people that sponsor the winner, they are the one that own the policies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got president where the money come from Coca-Cola, that Coca-Cola will tell our president, we want it, then they'll say, yeah. We want it, they'll say, yeah, you get president that come from Firestone, where Firestone get the money, whatever Firestone want, whether the liberal then getting paid on time or not, whatever the person that support the president want, that the place, the policy can go. But when you have a president that say, listen, I want all my $1 million to come from 2 people or 1 person. I want the Liberian people, because I want when I get there tomorrow, let me be beholden to the Liberian people, so that the policies I make, I will know in my heart of heart that the Liberian people once and will put me here, so that the people I will be beholden to. You don't have a better choice than that. So me myself, I'll put something small there right now.
Yes,
Because I want to become president. But I will call you and say, Papa Lamio, so you can know who that person is. So that's the opportunity we give you all of you tonight. Put something inside.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Kwan. So I have the cash app here. We are waiting for that beam. Let me just go here in the comment section and read some of the comments that people have started making. We want to encourage you to share the video. Look, yes, we are looking for the money. That's true. And the money will come, and it is coming. But what we want most is to challenge the thinking of Liberians on this platform, through this platform, is to challenge your minds so that you begin to think. Just because we want to change our government does not mean that we cannot assess those that we want to replace that government with. And this is the mistake Liberians have made continuously in successive leadership. We easily get tired, and because we get tired, we want anybody. And sometimes the risk factors, the red flags can be glaring, and it can be staring right in our faces, just like it's staring right now. And we still go like how sheep are led to the slaughterhouse, and they go with such humility and compliance. They just follow their slaughterer. They can be in line. That's how Liberians can line up. Something that will kill us. My late mother used to say, we're going to dance to our murderers. Something that will kill us, that the one will run too fast. The one that will save us and deliver us, we shun that. It is happening today. Liberians, be wise. I hear people say all the time, shine your eyes. When they say shine your eyes, that's a loaded phrase or loaded statement. They mean Check everybody background. Look, you don't change overnight. Somebody who is 60 years old, 70 years old, 65 years old, 80 years old, 79 years old, 75 years old, what effort they've been over time, they will not change now in their 70s, or they will not change in their 60s. That's why they can say you can't teach old dog new tricks, right? You can't teach old dog new tricks. So let's check our would-be leaders. If you were mean to your neighbor yesterday, you will not suddenly become a nice and kind-hearted guy or woman. If you selfish yesterday, you will not suddenly become generous, because it has become second nature. That's your character. It takes time to build character. You know, I read a quote before that says that your life starts with a single thinking, just a thought. A thought. And that thought can be transformed into words. And what you speak can be transformed into action. And your action can define your character. Of course, your character determines your destiny. So it's a process that starts from the mind. So what kind of people we have in line for leaders? The way they're thinking, we're in their words, they think they talk, and their action. And their action will tell us what character of people they are. And character determines and defines everything. You know, our country people got words for everything, so descriptive. I like our dialects, our languages. It says that your character is like your shadow. In Manon, they say that your shadow, everywhere you go, it follows you. Because that's who you are. You can't change. Somewhere in Liberia too, we also say in the Liberian parlance that monkey can't leave a black hand behind. The hair will always be black. And so, ladies and gentlemen in Radio Land, let me read here. I see Aaron Mane is again watching. Thank you so much. What is the basis of Cummings making such a statement? I'm not sure this is from us. It's from the previous show. So sorry about that. That must be from the previous show. Okay, Letty Brooks Roberts. Say hello, Luan. Honorable Ninde Letty. But anyway, thank you so much, Sister Roberts, for their honorable business. Next time, Japo. Hello, Ide Gonglo. Yeah. Thank you so much. How you doing, Letty?
Or you can say Sis Ide.
Or Sis Ide, you know, or Mrs. Way. You know, I like those names. Or, you know, Big Mama. That has some people call me Big Mama. So I love those names. But they're honorable business. The honorable they will get, I won't be one of them. And then we have here, so our producer is trying to show some of our videos. I'll pause and let him show. So you see there, this is the broom man making a case throughout the Republic of Liberia. Yes, making a sacrifice. Like he's always said, I will go everywhere. I'll talk to my people. I will give them the message. Because I don't want tomorrow somebody say, oh, we didn't know the kind of man were in the election. So he went every hamlet is the 20th. Because there will be no excuse, no escape. When you take what you want and you live it with the consequences, because one thing I know in behavioral science, every behavior has consequences. So the choice is yours. You make your behavioral choice, just know that every behavior, every action has consequence. Every choice we make has consequence. The consequences may be positive, it may be negative, but it's because of the choice you made. And as intellectuals and people with plenty of common sense, which I know Liberians have a lot of common sense, we use our common sense, evaluate what we see, and see who means well. When somebody is this authentic, they can't get any better than that. They can't get any better than that. You got to care so much to go through this. So we just encourage you, and I see here Mr. Nyan Jera. He's in, I think he said he was in, I can't remember one of these, but Nyan Jera, yes. He's not in America. I think it's in South Korea. Yes.
You know, since you know, anything I want to testify, you know.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I want to testify on behalf of certain people tonight.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
We're all ears.
You know, I did not ask these people for their permission, so I want to say sorry for them. But since I was there and I testify and was in public, I think I can also relay it. But the last time when the councilor were here, one of the very first trips he made to the States, we went to North Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
When we got it, the weekend, he and I got to South Dakota. Gibson Jeru's son had died in Liberia.
Uh-huh.
And then, but he was on our program sheet as the MC. So when we got there, I said, you know, the program got to change small thing because, you know, the MC, like, he was so fired for the thing, but now his son died and the people to his house sitting on the mat. I said, no problem, that why I can come with the councilor, the play your hand can reach, that myself will step in. So when the program started, I went on the stage and I said, okay, you know what, guys, we're about to start. Before I could say the first actor on the thing, Gibson Jeru came running in. Gibson Jeru. Yeah. And I said, who this guy? They said, but I Gibson Jeru there because I didn't know him previously. I said, oh, I just heard, you know, your son passed away and the people to your house sitting on the mat. He said, listen, let me tell you about this guy where you following. You don't know him as much as I do. He said, I know my son passed away. I know I get people on the mat in my house. But the thing this man has done for Grand Gila County,
wow.
Our senator, they ain't do it. Our representative, they ain't do it. He said, I think that was LA, arrested these Grand Gilians and put them in jail. And we were looking at, for a representative, somebody to go talk for our people. Our senators in like, the president arrested the people, so we can't go there. The other person was there. He said, one day, I just heard within 2 days, they called and said the people free. Right? So they said, he just got a phone call and they said the people were free. And they said, what? Who freed them? How much money it cost to free them? And then I said, oh, some guy called Tiawan came here. He freed them. Said, how much he charged? He said, he ain't charged no money. He just thought the president was wrong. And he challenged the president and they freed the people. And he's been waiting. He said, I've been waiting for all those years to see that person, number one, that will challenge the president of Liberia when he think the president wrong. Number two, that will work for people he doesn't even know and do it for free.
And you know, interestingly, with that story, that is a story that moves a lot of Nigerians.
Yeah, I come and testify. That was not the first time.
Wow.
Before we got to North Dakota, there was this other lady that called on a teleconference. And you know, when Uncle Doma had sent all our messages, I said, I want to be on a teleconference tonight. We forwarded it all over the country. And this lady came and said, listen, I know your name, but I don't know you. He said, my mom, I think she said her mom was not living. He said, oh, my mom died in bed. My mom kept saying, y'all got to know, y'all got to find Tiawan, y'all got to know Tiawan. So he said, the thing you did for my mom. and for my pa when my pa was in jail, and you went there, and then my mom said she never saw you. She went to the prison the next day. They met our pa was outside, and they said Tiawan was here. And so when she was passing away, she told her children, she said, I don't care what y'all do, you'll find out Tiawan man. Right?
Wow.
And it was like, whoo. And then I'm going to talk about another lady I saw from Colorado. She came, we were doing a program, and she came like, okay, I'm looking for money. Tiawan come in Minnesota here. I want to put him in a presidential suite. I want that one. She said, how much it will cost?
Wow, I remember that story.
Right? And I said, just so you know, you alone don't have to pay, but anyway, it costs this much thousands of dollars. And she said, give me the hotel and I will pay. So that after she had done that, I called her. I said, what's going on? She said, Tiawan, my pa. I said, come on, man. I know Tiawan children there. You need her on the list. And she said, no, actually. He said, in this country, when I'm listing my family, when they talk about who you pa, I can call your name. Even though when he is listing, we're not children, so that he can forgive me. But that's the only father I know.
Wow.
And then she told me her story. Say she got pregnant for the first time when she was like 15. I think she got raped by some older man. And then her parents pulled her aside. Say, we pay you school fee, did all the things, they go get pregnant. The fact that she was raped, or that the other person that was big person, they didn't want to go after the person, but they put their own child outside. And Tiawan didn't know her from anywhere. She came crying, and he said, you know what? Can't stay here. When you deliver, then we'll go by and talk to your parents. But you can stay here until you deliver. And she said, I delivered. Tiawan bought the first baby diapers and all that thing for my children.
Mm-hmm.
And she talking the story. She said, I never went back home. I said, no, those people might have born me biologically, but you are the only example of a true father that I know. You didn't know me from anywhere. I was in such trouble that my own parents put me aside, and you took me in.
I know.
Besides,
She called me.
making
She
sure
said
I
that.
ate, and I was taking care of when I was pregnant. You bought the first diaper for my first child, all that stuff. Right?
And
You say
she's
you're the
here
only father
today.
I know.
She's a nurse practitioner, right? Or registered nurse.
And I'm talking plenty. I just
Yeah,
testify.
because
I just saying
the
this
same
has been
person talked to me.
consistent.
Saying you
When
didn't get her permission.
when the counselor gets in this place, I
She
go with
spends
him
all her
around the
money.
place just so I hear some of these things over and over to let people know that they may not bluffing.
Mm-hmm.
At one time, I went to a place where we went to campaign. I said, listen, guys, I didn't come to beg y'all to vote for Tiawan. I came to tell y'all we have a better candidate. Right? Who y'all end up with next year is going to be your choice. But you will not have that excuse that say, well, they all the same. All of them, they thought the same thing, but when push kind of shot, they don't change. It's like, no, that's not true. This guy is different. He got a character. He got a reputation. And when I take you, more than 1 hour to find somebody that will testify that this is the true thing.
You know, Sam, it's interesting because in addition to this poor man lawyer being who he is, naturally nice, and we are not saying that being nice is a requirement for becoming a leader. That's not what we're saying. Being nice is not a requirement. But like we've said over and over, and truthfully so, you lead human beings. You have to have a heart of compassion. In order to lead people, you have to have a heart of compassion. You have to have a heart of caring. You have to be people-centered, because leadership is about people. It's about their lives. You know, like Councillor Gonglo himself says all the time, When medical doctors make mistakes, that one individual can die. That individual that is in their care at that moment is the person that dies. But when politicians make mistakes, thousands and hundreds of thousands of people die. We are Liberians, have experienced it time and time again. The biggest one was the 1990 war. Political mistakes, bad leadership, bad governance, corruption, lack of rule of law, no accountability. All of that came together head on in 1990. And who suffered it? The over 250,000 Liberians that died, the millions of properties that were damaged, the erosion of our civil society, the erosion of the Liberian political space and even the social space. Was all of these were the casualty of bad governance and poor political decisions. So we have to check our leaders. People that want to be our leaders, we need to examine them because their mistakes can cost our lives. And it can change the trajectory of every citizen and resident of that country. Today, we started off with Dr. Palm talking about the situation in Sudan. Those two men, what they're doing, who dying? It's not their children that are dying. And so we got to examine those who take leadership. That's why we've come to you with Councillor Tiawonse Gonglo. I will read the Cash App again. Look, this platform is to talk about Councillor Tiawonse Gonglo, but it's more so to challenge us to put our money to where our mouths are. Liberians, let us change and cultivate this new habit of supporting our politics so that we can hold our leaders accountable, hold their feet to fire. Let's put the money behind those who we know have the credibility and the character. You know, I always will continue to quote Hawa Meska on this show. Today, I was watching one of her recent podcasts. I think she was in the gym on Saturday, and she just had that, low short video live that she did. And when she was speaking, she said, I don't know about some of you people. Some of you people just support people because you find a lot of people behind them. You find they are your brothers, they are your friends. But we don't want to follow people because of that. Look at their associates. They say, show me your friend. Let me tell you who you are. Some people who want to be leader, look at those who following them. Look at the people in their comfort zone. Look at the people who are their confidants. Look at those who they're making decisions with. Those who they are hanging heads with. Look at them. Look at those whose names are even in the pot. Look at them. Are these your true representation? Can you go to bed sound with some of these names? Can you? And we sit here, we stay saying, we're waiting, let's see, and the election coming. Let's see who they will vote for. Liberian poor, we are tired with our country. But you know, we Christians say words are powerful. Be careful what you say. Liberians, we are very loose with words. We are the first to say, that country is finished. And because consistently and persistently, Liberians are saying Liberia is finished, as a result, they are not doing anything because whatever you say out of your mind, out of your mouth, your mind is programmed. So some people tonight, they don't even want to give money because in their mind, Liberia finished. But I'm here to tell you, Dr. Kwan and myself are here to tell you that a better Liberia is possible with Councillor Tiawonse Gonglo. That's why we are on a better Liberia caravan. Look there. Look at this video. Yeah, our guest on this one. This is Liberia, 170 years old country. This is it. And this is, you might think that we're like in the interior. Look at Monrovia. Leave Tottenham Boulevard, leave the freeway, the Japanese freeway, go in the corners, and you will know that even Monserrato is heavily challenged. Rainy season coming, no drainages, poor governance, like the video you watched from the beginning of this show, says corruption sucks the life out of any country. They steal from us. They steal from you and myself. They kill the dreams of our children. Some of our best minds, those who are supposed to be our medical doctors, our scientists, our astronauts, some of them today, they will never be that because their parents don't have money for them to go to school. Yet you have a candidate who say, not only that he said there will be free education from kindergarten to 12th grade, but he tells you how and how that will be done. Not just to say you got free school, but there must be textbooks. So the quality of our education must be uplifted so that our children will have a fighting chance among their peers in the sub-region and beyond. Liberians, let's wake up. The Zelle is 215-220-5601. I see here, somebody say here, what is Councillor Gonglo motto? I mean his party. What is the motto of Mr. Gonglo party? Well, the motto of his campaign is a better Liberia is possible. But more than that, the emblem of his party, the Liberia's People Party, on that emblem, you have the broom, which symbolizes upholding the rule of law to fight corruption. But the simple motto,
even though they have the motto that way, Ceci, I also want to say one of the other phrases, or I don't want to call it a motto, but it's coming popular, is where he says, you go to government to serve,
a government
not to
is a place
steal.
to serve, yes. Government is a
Okay.
place
I
to
don't know how
serve.
much time we got here, but I was going to say my last word. I was looking at the clock. I just didn't want to go today without saying this. I want to repeat.
You have up to 10:30.
Okay. I want to repeat what Ms. Mesger said the last time, so
Yes,
people can't forget. You're going to have your opportunity. But when that time comes, she said, killers are going to follow killers. Rogues, people who are stealing, they're going to follow other rogues. I want to add to that to say the patriotic, nationalistic people, the people who want to make Liberia a better place, even if you're too old now to enjoy it, but your children will have a better experience than what we have had. They too will follow a nationalistic, patriotic person. And the only one we know in this race is Tiawanse Gonglo. That is talking about a better Liberia. That is talking about the government is for serving and not for stealing, you know? And the way when he talking that thing, the rogues and the killers, they're ganging up against him. But in the end, the majority wins. If most of the Liberian people choose to let the rogue be rogues and the killers be killers, but they said today we're going to put our foot down and say we want people that will serve the country for a better tomorrow. If we put our foot down,
yes,
our country will change. There is nobody over there, guys, that gets some kind of magic dust that they say, oh, vote for me when I win, I will change the whole place. That's not true. Even if they get $1 billion, that's not true. The only way that country will change is when we, like-minded people, and when we band together. Martin Luther King said, there are more good people than bad people. But when push comes to shove, the good people then They're too busy to do anything good. They're going to work. They say, oh, that politics them my hand inside. They want them. But the bad people, the people who want to steal, they can't sleep. They're on that street day and night because they know that time is limited and they will work 24 hours. He said there's always any society, there's more good people than bad people. It's just that the bad people are more committed and more dedicated than the good people. But we can change that. This is our God-given chance to change that. Because if those of us that are the good people, those of us that don't want people to go to government to steal, but to serve. Those of us that say, hey, when you steal, like the Ms. Greenfield, the former ambassador, the U.S. ambassador, they say, listen, corruption is not just stealing from you. It is also stealing your children's future.
That's true.
And we send money over there to make the university a world-class university, and only 3 people eat the money. They're not stealing from the American people. They're stealing from everybody that has dream of going to that university. When we send money over there to build a clinic in Bapa or in any of those other places over there in Joazon, and 3 people eat the money. Everybody in Joazon district that needs medicine, that you is stealing from. The pregnant woman that the child you have not born yet, there's supposed to be a clinic over there and somebody steals the money and the clinic never gets built. Or when medicine come there and only stays in Monrovia and doesn't reach you, they're not just stealing from you or from those of us that are sending stuff there. They're stealing from your children and your children's future as well. And if you don't stand up this year, and you choose to do the same thing you did 5 years ago, you will not only suffer, but your children will suffer as well.
And you know what? Time is running out, Dr. Kman. Time is running out for Liberia. Because look at the state the country is in. Look at the video that you just saw. Look at the video all over Liberia. This is not just going to the southeast. This is not just for Nimba. The same is in Lofa. The same is in Bapolu. The same is in Bomi, River Sass, Grand Basso, Bonkante, and you name it. Maryland, River G. Everywhere. This is a country in decay. How worse do we want it to be before we can have a sober reflection of where we are and say we need a change? But every time we say we want change, but we don't want to take the steps towards change. You know, like Mahatma Gandhi said, the world will not be destroyed. No, not Mahatma Gandhi. That was Albert Einstein. It will not be destroyed by the wicked people. But the good people who sit supinely and do nothing, this is your chance to do something. It may not be a whole lot. It can be $50. It can be $100. It can be $200. If you have more, we accept that. So if you have 500, you have 1,000, you have 2,000. Imagine what will it take. And we are about over 500,000 Liberians in the diaspora. Just imagine if only 5% of diaspora Liberians believed in Tiawan Gonglo's message, for instance, and say, look, we're going to support. And so 5% of 500,000, that's how many people? I don't know my math. I'm thinking maybe it's about, what, 50,000, whatever, but somewhere along that line. Let's say 5% of the diaspora Liberians decide, look, we believe in this main message. We're just going to give $100, one time $100. Take that challenge. You tell your friends, right there, you will have raised the money for the campaign. And that will change Liberia. We cannot say change one side of our mouths and do not support it. So I want to challenge all of you on this platform tonight, those of you who are watching. You know, someone wrote here and said you need to reach out to Prophet Key so he can help in making Mr. Gonglo's case. Okay, so we are talking about Liberia. We are all Liberians. That's good. If you have contact, how about you reach him too? You know, but we take that into advisement. What we think needs to happen. And, you know, Councillor Gonglo has said, time without limit. That look, I am putting myself forward because I don't want tomorrow for some Liberians to come and say, Councillor, you're one of those who can blame for our condition in this country. You're a good man. You have good heart. You're a nationalist. But every time election comes, you don't put yourself forward. He says, so I don't want people come tomorrow and say, why are you getting the election? So I get there now. And now some people say, oh, the man got money. This man does not have money. Oh, the man too straight. I've heard that too. Yeah, Gonglo is good. He's very good, but you made him president and then the chopping finish. It is the chopping that got us where we are in the first place. Until the chopping can finish, we're not going to go nowhere. And in fact, you can keep your chopping, but when you are caught chopping, you shall never chop again. Just like in this country, there are corrupt people here. There are bad people here. But because there is a strong rule of law, when you are caught, if you do it and they catch you, good for you. But when you are caught, you bear the full consequences of your action according to the laws on the book. The penalties of whatever law you broke, you will face the full weight of that law. So we need to put our rule of law, to strengthen our rule of law in Liberia. And this is what Councillor Gonglo wants to do. You know, and we'll continue to borrow Howard's words. Are we saying that there are more bad people in Liberia than good people? If all of us, if everyone who has crossed Councillor Gonglo's path, if everyone who has experienced him, everyone who has researched him, say, wow, this man is good. If all the good people do nothing, guess what? If we're so good, then why don't we align with him? Because our human science, likes attract likes. So in human science, likes attract likes. So bad people will go to the bad people. Rogues will go to rogues. Murderers will go to murderers. Liars will go to liars. Honest and truthful people need to come to where honesty and truthfulness prevails. Justice defenders and advocates need to come to the Archon for justice. Rule of law promoters need to come to the Archon and the Czar for rule of law. If we all want rule of law in this country, this is where we need to be. And so, thank you. Thank you. We now tell our yes, I see your cash app here. Thank you. Thank you. Our producer, will you bring one of the videos on? Apparently, Philip Woods decided to sleep on me tonight. So we have 15 minutes.
You must be thinking about it.
Corruption is a vile disease that sucks and drains the health out of something good. Corruption in society is an evil moral infection that keeps community in a state of perpetual sickness. Corruption is a moral virus. It's so potent, it leaves its host sick, lethargic, and unable to realize and accomplish all that a well person can. Where corruption thrives, poverty and not prosperity thrives. Wealth is grabbed into the greedy, grubby hands of those who get fat on the toil and labor of good people. Corruption benefits, only temporarily, those who participate in it. Everyone else is a victim of the theft, the deceit, the dishonesty, and the lies that corruption feeds on. You need to know that a corrupt person is stealing from you. Corruption is filthy work and despicable.
Selfless. You must be thinking about the people. That's the number one rule in successful governance. Think about the people that you govern, not about yourself. That is how you.
Yes, we're going to sweep corruption, sweep corruption. Yes, Liberia needs to survive. This country has suffered so long. Our people have suffered. Some have died in suffering. Born in poverty, died in poverty. Poverty caused by poor governance. Our country is rich. It's so rich that Liberia, with good and competent government, it would take no time to develop. Because number one, everything is in our favor. This country is small in size, setting over mineral wealth. Population small. Even our next door neighbors, we are small in population compared to Sierra Leone, Guinea, Ghana, Nigeria. In fact, you can't even mention Nigeria. All the other countries around us. We are so small in population. So it doesn't take long to put money to the human capacity development in our country, educate our young people, and use the mineral wealth that we have. When you curb corruption by diverting that money to social services, our country in no time can be so enjoyable that we don't need to be in these places where our lives are not even secured. It's difficult to live in foreign land. It's difficult to live in strange land. But when your land provides you no opportunity, that natural human instinct kicks in. Survival. That survival instinct kicks in. Some people are traveling all over the world, not because they hate their countries, but because their countries have not provided them the opportunity. That's why we are here. The minute Liberia gets its act together and we have a good leader like Councillor Tiawon Gonglo, who will make things right and put those needed social services in place, you will literally find no Liberian. I kid you not. You will find no Liberian in America, in Europe, in this place, in that place, because there is certainly nowhere like home. It's such a beautiful thing. We can travel out of the country, we can travel other parts of the world for sightseeing, for vacation. But it should not be the norm. Where if somebody say, if you carry ship to Liberia today, and say, who all want be slave? To be slave in America or somewhere in Asia, there will be nobody left in Liberia. They say because the people, they're suffering too much. They say, I'd rather be slave in another man's country. So we can make that right. Let's change. Let's change this pathetic story that people they are born in poverty, abject poverty. They grow up in it, have absolutely no fighting chance. The other day I saw somebody photo, I don't know what country they took that photo from, and they posted it on Facebook, and that man's face looked so much like Obama. Barack Obama. I mean, he was a spitting image of Barack Obama. But he's in this tattered clothing on him, dirty, looking like he's coming from on the farm or somewhere. And the person wrote, look, this could have been another brainless Obama born in the wrong place. The stories have no end, but we can end that. We're going to be ending by 10:30. We have 8 more minutes to go. I just want to encourage all of you tonight who are watching. We're going to have this podcast here every day until the election. Whether we are in Liberia, we're going to be hosting this. And I will call to you. And I thank you, Mr. Gossi, for being on tonight. Andrew Gossi, I won't say Gonglo, is the time, in quotation, is quote unquote the time Liberia has been waiting for. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Gossi. I won't say Gonglo is the time Liberia has been waiting for. That time is now. That time is now. Because Liberia is so much in need. That time is now. Again, as we come to a close, we want to challenge you. We want to challenge you. And you know what I like about the social media? These videos will live on forever and ever. Because when you make your mistake, time to come, some of you will be looking for this video and you'll be searching for Tiawan Google messages on the internet and saying, wow, the man told us this. Wow, his supporters told us this. The time is now for you to make up your mind. The time is now for you to assess the track record of all these people. Leadership is about character. You know, like Patrice Lumumba said, he said, we humans, we Africans, we are like the goats. And then we as goats look for the hyenas to be our kings. Will we survive? Because of course the hyenas feed on goats. So if you are the goat, you are the sheep, you are the cow, you are the chicken, and you look for hyena or you look for the fox to be your chief, of course you will have feasts with you. So we look at people with dirty hands, proverbial dirty hands, meaning very corrupt. Their record speaks of nothing good, nothing they've done. Their records establish nothing, no history in their path. Some of them have been in the public space forever and ever. You know, they say no news is good news, but it's not ever no news that can be good news. So no news can be hidden bad news. Let's check the records of our leaders or would-be leaders. It can be representative candidates. It can be Senate candidates. It can be, of course, the biggest one that we are here for, presidential candidates. Check their records. You are what you are because of the character that you are. And if we think that character does not matter, let's think again, because that's what matters in the public space. Keep your Cash App coming, keep your Zelle coming, support your candidate, support the man with a clear vision and a clear message for Liberia. Most of us and most of you don't want to die here. Some of you worked or have worked in the nursing homes. Some of you are nurses. A friend of mine who is a nurse the other day came from work and she was telling me where she worked in a trauma hospital. The sadness. Nobody wants to die in foreign land. But our people are forced to die here. The graveyards of America are filled with Liberians. And some get buried in Liberia. I don't know how true is it, but there's a trending video on the internet. I heard this before I saw the video. That Vladimir Putin said before, Africa, the graveyard. And of course, Liberia being an African country, we are part of that. That they come in the Western countries, they live their best life here because they don't have a home. They wait, they stay here, work here, or invest in our Western countries' economy. When they die, their will is, I won't be buried home. So their home, not a graveyard. We don't want to make Liberia graveyard. We want to go and live there before our death. Most of you watching here tonight want to go back to Liberia, but you want to make it a livable country. It must be a country where you have constant electricity because you can pay your bills, where you can pay your taxes on your properties, and if you don't pay, you are held accountable, just like here in this country. We pay our taxes here. So we must have a government that makes us to pay our taxes. But more than that, our government must produce an environment that is investment friendly, that the human being can thrive, the citizens can thrive. The citizens will have the opportunity to make life. And because you have the opportunity to have income, to earn income, the government now can hold you accountable to pay your taxes, your just taxes for the government to run. We can do it. And so tonight, we just want to end by encouraging you to come on board the caravan. So as we end tonight, be our guest next week, Friday, same time, same place. Keep your eyes on in Liberia. Put your money to where your mouths are. Like me, I know your mouth is in Liberia. So let's keep our money there. Good night.
Bara Shango,